Today we're going to be reading Chapter 9 of The Orange Outlaw. You will be beginning on page 60. While I'm reading, I want you to answer these questions. How did the children think the orangutan was able to find the painting? How did the children know how to find the orangutan? And why can't Uncle Warren call the detective to have the owner arrested? So when we are finished that, we will complete pages 15 and 16 in your packet. Chapter 9. Uncle Warren was in the kitchen looking glum when Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose rushed in. "Forrest Evans just called," Uncle Warren said. "He's coming back tomorrow." "What will I tell him?" Dink grinned. "Tell him we know who stole the painting." Uncle Warren nearly dropped his cup of coffee. "Do you really know, Donnie?" "Who?" "The orangutan did it," Josh said, interrupting each other. The three kids told Dink's uncle what they had thought had happened. But how would an ape recognize a valuable Monet? Uncle Warren asked. Dink unbuttoned his shirt and carefully placed the snapshot on the table. "We think the trainer taught him to recognize the painting," Dink said. His uncle studied the photograph. It's Forrest's painting." "All right," he said. "And look, that's the Eiffel Tower in the background. This picture was taken in Paris." Uncle Warren shook his head. "I find it very hard to believe," he said. "An orangutan climbed up to my balcony, ate my oranges, then stole my friend's painting. Incredible." "Orangutans are very smart," Josh said. "I saw a nature program about them once. One orangutan learned to count. They taught another one to turn on a VCR and pop in a video." Uncle Warren nodded. "I'll give this photo to Detective Castillo," he said. "But how do we find the orangutan's owner?" Ruth Rose asked. "We don't even know his name." "Wait a minute." Dink jumped up and ran into the living room. He came back carrying the jeans he'd been wearing the night before. "I took one of their flyers," he said, digging into his pocket. "Here it is." He opened the flyer and spread it on the kitchen table. In large block letters, the words were Fowler's Farm, animal acts of all kinds, for parties and school events. Below the words was a picture of a man and a woman they'd seen the night before. Their names were painted beneath the picture, Harvey and Jenny Fowler. Beside the picture was another one. In it, the orangutan was riding the pony. The caption said, "Ollie the orangutan and Polly the pony." At the very bottom of the page was a telephone number and an address. "They live in Ossing, New York," Dink Uncle said. "That's not far from here." "Excellent, Donnie." "Now, all we have to do is get that detective to arrest them," Josh said. "I'm afraid not," Uncle Warren said. "We have no proof that these people trained their animals to steal Forrest's painting. We have a lot of theories, a photo, and hairs that might come from the orangutan. Still, I doubt that's enough for Detective Castillo to make an arrest. If only we could get Mr. and Mrs. Fowler's fingerprints," Dink said. "Then we could see if they match any of the prints on the snapshot." "That would be a start," Uncle Warren said, "but still no proof that the animals stole the painting." "What if we got the hair from Ollie?" Ruth Rose asked. "If the hair matched the one we found in the kitchen, wouldn't that prove that he was in the apartment?" Dink's uncle smiled. "I think that would be enough to convince Detective Castillo he was. But how do we obtain this hair?" Ruth Rose grinned. "I thought you'd never ask," she said. "Okay, so were you able to answer these questions? How did the children think the orangutan was able to find the painting? How did the children know how to find the orangutan? And why can't Uncle Warren call the detective to have the owners arrested? Okay, you're going to go to pages 15 and 16. 15, it says, "Read to clarify. How do the children think the orangutan was able to recognize the valuable painting?" Cite evidence from the text to support your answer. So you should have at least 2 sentences on this one, and make sure you restate the question on that very first sentence. Vocabulary. Synonym and antonym. Write a synonym and an antonym for the underlined word. An orangutan climbed up my balcony, ate my oranges, and stole my friend's painting. Incredible. So wants to know a synonym for incredible and an antonym for incredible. First, you need to figure out what the word incredible means. So you can use dictionary.com, and then you need to find a synonym and an antonym. Reread to clarify. How did the children know how to find Ollie the orangutan and its owner? So one sentence right here to explain that. Make sure you restate the question. Reread to clarify. Why can't Uncle Warren call the detective and tell him to arrest the orangutan owner? You should have one complete sentence here. Vocabulary, context clues. Define the vocab word using context clues or a dictionary. We have a lot of theories, a photo, and hairs that might have come from the orangutan. So, what does that word theory mean? If you're not sure, please feel free to use dictionary.com to help you figure out the word of theory. Predictions. I thought you'd never ask. Ruth Rose seemed to have a plan to get the orangutan's hair. What do you think Ruth Rose plans entail? So, what do you think she's going to do? This one also must be written in a complete sentence. When you are finished with those, make sure that you get them turned in.